Well, hey there guys, and welcome to another episode of What's Happening in China. So what is happening in China at the moment? I got a lot to talk about, that's for sure. So let's first of all start with what's happening on the streets. As usual, I talk about the weather. Of course, this is only relevant to where I live, which is in the south of China. Right now, it's that crazy time of year where you get a lot of heat, a lot of humidity. It's really hot. Today's about 33 degrees, that's Celsius obviously, but with probably about 98% humidity, hence the sweat. It's really quite torturous to walk around here in the summer. And, if you're not used to this kind of hot, humid climate, you'll find it absolutely unbearable. Remember, though, that you have a lot of air conditioning in buses and shops and various other things like that. So you don't need to worry too much. If you are going to be taking public transport or hanging out in shopping malls and that sort of thing, it's okay. Just remember, bring some summer clothes and prepare to sweat a lot. Also, it's interspersed with thunderstorms and massive downpours. I've got all sorts of... I probably have some pictures which I'll throw in here. If not, just take my word for it. The rain comes very suddenly and the drainage is very bad in China. In fact, it's quite funny. There are only two cities in China which have good drainage. One of them is Qingdao, which the reason it has good drainage is because the Germans built it, when Qingdao used to be a concession port way back in the day. The other one is an ancient city. I can't remember the name, but the fact is the drainage system was built 2,000 years ago by the ancient Chinese. But all the modern cities, the drainage is so bad that whenever it has a heavy downpour, you get these massive floods and cars are swallowed up and roads disappear, and it's quite crazy. And I've been there firsthand to see it. Anyway, let's move off from on the street and let's get into the news, which is a bit of both on the street and in the news. The stock market. Now, last time I did a What's Happening in China, I warned everybody that the stock market was getting out of hand and, people were just over-investing. Well, 2 days ago there was a slump in the stock market. The reason I found out about this is a bunch of my clients were looking really depressed, and I asked them what's going on, and they told me they'd lost a hell of a lot of money on the stock market. One guy, for instance, lost 100,000 RMBs of money that he'd borrowed from his family, which, is obviously very unpleasant. And there were apparently a string of suicides connected to this. I can't confirm this. I just had a bunch of people sending me sites on WeChat of people jumping off buildings. I can only imagine that it's related to the stock market crash, but it could be something else. So don't take my word for that. Just know that there was a slump in the stock market and a lot of people lost a fair amount of money. It'll probably be on the rise again very soon, but just like I said, there's a bit of a warning sign. Be cautious, people, if you're playing in the stock market. Don't keep all your eggs in one basket. Okay, let's move on. Another very worrying thing in the news is this MERS virus. It's the Middle Eastern Respiratory, whatever, I can't remember the actual acronym. But it's like SARS, it's like bird flu, but it comes from the Middle East and apparently from camels. Now, there's a confirmed case of actually a Korean guy whose family had the disease, and he actually traveled to Hong Kong and then from Hong Kong up to Huizhou, which is where my shop is, here in Guangdong province. They had him isolated, but apparently another woman that was traveling with him on the plane is showing symptoms, and she has been hospitalized too. Now, MERS is a very serious disease, and there's no, my girlfriend, actually my fiance, is a doctor, and it's big in the whole sort of medical circles at the moment because MERS cannot be treated. There's no medicine to treat it. So it's under very close observation, and if for whatever reason it breaks out, it's going to be pretty tragic because, especially in a place like China, the population is so big and everyone's so close together, and any kind of a disease like that, contagious disease, could spread very quickly. So it's currently under observation. Let's hope that it doesn't become a thing. But just for those of you who are traveling in this part of the world, be aware that there is the potential of a contagious outbreak, at least down here in the Guangdong area. Like I said, it's under control for now, but I'll keep you guys updated if I hear anything else on this MERS virus. Okay, enough doom and gloom, because actually a lot of nice things have been happening down here in China as well. Okay, how about some good news? So how about a bit of good news? Well, first of all, today is Children's Day, which I guess, I don't know if it's international, but a lot of families take their kids out to certain places like the Children's Palace here in Shenzhen, where they can, watch performances and that sort of thing, which is quite cool. Okay, so some more good news is that the sales tax on luxury goods is taking a big cut. Now, I think a lot of people are unaware of this fact. I know I was. When I first came to China, you think, oh, everything is going to be cheap in China. But that's not the case. Yes, you can buy locally cheap manufactured stuff here, like the knockoff things and the sort of things that come out of the factories, the cheap Chinese brands. But anything, even if it's made in China, if it's a big brand name, let's say for instance Burberry or Louis Vuitton or whatever, because let's not kid ourselves, a lot of that stuff is actually made here, OEM'd here or something. If it's a big brand name, it's got a huge import tax stamped on it. Even like, for instance, it's stupid, the Apple iPhones and stuff are made in this city, in Shenzhen, where I am, but you pay significantly more to buy an Apple iPhone here than you would in Hong Kong, where the sales tax is very low. So that's why you've got this huge smuggling problem where people go over to Hong Kong, buy a whole bunch of stuff, and then smuggle it back into the mainland to sell it at a profit, So it's still cheaper than buying it here, but they still make a profit. Anyway, because of this, there's of course a lot of tension between Hong Kong and the mainland, because lots of people are doing this parallel trading. I'm not going to get into that. I just want to say that there's been a measure that's been taken, which is to cut like 2/3 of the luxury sales tax on many items. So in other words, you can buy now, you should be able to buy things like LV handbags and Gucci and all that nonsense at a reasonable price here, similar to what you would pay overseas. Right now a lot of rich Chinese people go on shopping holidays. They go to Japan and they go to anywhere other than mainland China, and when they're out there on their holiday, they buy all these luxury goods because they're so expensive to buy here. So that's good news. That means that the local people can start to afford these things. So there we go. Talk about something good for once. Okay, since we are doing the whole news thing, I'm also going to talk about another quite funny thing that happened. There's this funny thing that happens in China here. And it's all got to do with copyright and that sort of nonsense, right? We all know, and it's an absolute fact, that Chinese people are very good at copying and reverse engineering, but not very good at innovation. At least not yet anyway. They are getting there if you look at some of the newer things coming out, like the Xiaomi products. Although, a lot of it is just reverse engineered or copied designs, etc. Some of the things they're making are really of good quality, and I live here, I see this, and I've seen the progression, and things are changing. But on the whole, it's still the same, similar sort of, if someone's doing something good, that's a good idea, let's do the same. So anyway, I thought it was quite funny because recently there was a thing in the news here where I think it's an American woman. She came and taught English in China for about 2 years. While she was here, she learned how to make Chinese tianbing, which is like a kind of a pancake thing with crunchy stuff inside. It's really delicious. I like them. You could get them on the street corners just about anywhere. She learned how to make them. She went back to America and she opened a little store and started selling them, and they became very popular. People were giving them good reviews, and it became like a bit of a sensational thing. And then the Chinese comments on the boards here, on Weibo and all this, people were saying, she's stealing Chinese culture, and it's nonsense like this, which to me was a huge laugh. For me, it was just like the funniest thing I've read in ages, because everywhere you look, you just see Western culture being copied here, like every street corner, everything around here. So it was quite a funny sort of hypocritical thing going on there. Anyway, I don't follow politics. I don't know the names, but there's some woman running for president in America right now. Recently in a press conference, she said something about Chinese people can't innovate. They're just, they're good at copying, which of course a lot of people were a bit upset about here. But then like the next day, the Fundan University, which is like a very famous university here in China, released like a promotional advert for the university. But the narrative and everything was like basically an exact copy of the Tokyo University advert that was released last year. And all the Chinese netizens, they kind of went up in arms. They said, what are you doing copying this? They pointed out all the similarities. And they're like, look, that presidential candidate was right. Look, we can't do anything original. So the university straight away, deleted the movie off the internet. They cut it, and they overnight produced another one to pop up to like say sorry and like, look, here's something original. But it's quite interesting to just follow the responses of the general Chinese people on the internet. And in general, they all seem to sort of agree with the whole statement that, China has a bit of a way to go. And Chinese people are very capable, which they are, incredibly capable people, well educated and able to do things. You give them a task, they can do it, but not very innovative, So yeah, it's good to see that it's being acknowledged. And I expect good things out of China in the future, the way things are going at the moment. I think that's all going to change eventually. It's going to take a while though. Anyway, let's talk about what's up and coming. And okay, I'm not really in the mood to go walking around finding another place because it's really hard. I've got this crappy lens on my camera that's very, sort of, what do you call that? It's not a wide angle, it's the opposite of wide angle. So I guess it's a narrow angle lens. And it's really difficult for me to find. I've got my camera hanging in a tree. I got my camera bag hanging from a tree here and it's resting on there. I'm going to take a photo so all of you guys can see what I'm talking about, okay? Because it's actually quite ridiculous. So here we go, let's take a photo. There's my camera hanging in a tree. Okay, so I'm going to pop that up for you. Anyway, let's talk about the up and coming. A couple of things. I'm sure some of you guys noticed I've done a couple of village crawls recently. I'm going to start bringing some of those back if you guys don't mind. I'm actually going to go and buy the latest GoPro because the one I have is ancient, as you know, the Hero 2. If you've been following my channel for a while, you'll know that I bought it years ago, and actually you probably saw the video when I went to buy it. So I'm going to get the Hero 4 and I'm going to start doing village crawls fairly often because I realized I do have the opportunity every Monday and Tuesday up at the shop. I can go for a little ride around Huizhou and talk about something or show you guys something different and explore, little areas and show you a bit of the real sort of China, which I know a lot of you guys enjoy. So I'm going to bring that back. Chinese Espresso, as always, every Wednesday. Sorry, not going away, deal with it. And of course, all these other videos like this, for instance. I made a decision on Friday Fives. They will continue, but they will not be every Friday. They will be every time I've actually gotten some decent pictures. Because last night I'd taken some pictures and I was going through them and I was like, okay, I got to get a Friday Fives up. And I was looking at the pictures and I thought, you know what? These just aren't good enough. Like, they look shit, quite honestly. I don't feel happy putting them up. I'm basically, only when I manage to take some fairly good photos, something really interesting, I'll put them up. So Friday Fives will probably happen once, twice, maybe 3 times a month if I happen to be getting a lot of good pictures. All right, so that's how that is going. Some news on the what to do. Now, my friend up in Tianjin, his name is Jiaoza Guy Austin. He also makes vlogs. And he's taken over basically putting together a web page for the What to Do project. So he's busy working on that. Expect that late July, early August, it'll be done. And just to let you know that the project isn't dead, because I'm sure you've noticed if you've been following the What to Do videos, there hasn't been one since basically Chinese New Year. And there will be, don't worry, it's coming back. It's just an effort, so it's going to happen. Just got to get that motivation again. I'll keep making them. Austin will keep making them. Food Ranger Brad will keep making them. And we got the guys down in Seattle. Hopefully Seamilk will get his arse in gear and make some more soon as well. And we'll get it all rolling again and include some more people in the near future too. So just to let you know, that's pretty much everything. It is hot and summer down here in southern China. And I look forward to seeing you all in my next video. Until then, guys, remember, as always, stay awesome.